Hi guys, so today I will be baking a lemon cheesecake. The reason I chose this recipe is actually because it is a tradition in my family to eat cheesecake on anyone's birthday. And we used to buy it, but I learned to make it, so now it's more useful to just make it at home. This recipe is actually composed of 3 different parts: making the crust, making the cheese batter, and lastly making the lemon curd. To make the crust, I chose some cookies from the brand Selection. I used a whole box, which is 325 grams. This part is actually very simple. All you need to do is put the cookies into either a Ziploc bag and find an object to smash it with, a hammer, your hand, or you can be normal and use a food processor or an actual blender. After you're done blending your cookies, you can go ahead and add some butter in a bowl. It shows here that I used 35 grams, but I actually ended up using 22 grams more for butter, so 57 grams in total. Like I did here, you can now start adding your butter to your crackers. Don't be like me and look at your camera while you're mixing. That's why I'm mixing like a little child. Make sure you prepare your cake mold, adding a parchment paper at the bottom so the crust won't stick to the cake mold, and preheating your oven to 350 degrees to bake the crust. Okay, so after your cake crust, you can start making your cheese sauce. Personally, I used a electrical whisk because I do not have the force in my forearms to whisk like a gorilla. So here I'm just showing you guys the recipe. It calls for 650 grams of cream cheese, 300 grams of sour cream, 400 grams of heavy cream, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of flour and vanilla, and 4 eggs and 1.5 cup of sugar. So here I'm just whisking together the cream cheese, heavy cream, and the sour cream. Make sure to also check on your crust. It should only be in the oven for like 8 to 10 minutes. Once your batter becomes more smooth, you can always adjust your speed for it to go faster, or you can leave it at level 1. I'm just eyeballing how much sugar I want. Ended up adding 266 grams. Sometimes I add more, sometimes I add less. The recipe calls for 1.5 cups, but I don't always respect it. And then you can add your 4 eggs. Once you're done mixing your sugar and egg, you can now check on your batter, and if it's smooth, you can start adding the sugar and eggs with the white ingredients. Here I'm just adding the 1 tablespoon of vanilla, then the 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour, and then 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And then I'm gonna start mixing the bowl so there's no clumps left. And as you can see, there was actually a huge clump, so you just gotta help out your machine a bit, and then you can put it on speed 4 again, and then it's done. Here I'm just pouring my batter into my mold, and then I'm gonna bring it to my counter and smack it lightly, which I didn't do, to release the air bubbles. Please don't do like me and literally almost lose your cake. Yo, je sens. Ça coule. No! Anyway, so make sure your cake mold is actually very secured, because I almost lost my cake. But now to the curd, we're gonna add 2 egg yolks, sugar, lemon zest, lemon juice. We're gonna put it on heat, and then we're gonna add cold butter, vanilla extract, and then salt. So here I ended up adding 63 grams of sugar, and now I'm zesting the lemon. I'm gonna mix the lemon with the sugar with my hands. I washed my hands, by the way, so it can make like a crystal sugar kind of. And make sure when you zest the lemon, don't go over the part that you already zested. It's not gonna taste good if you do that. So I went ahead and added my lemon juice. It doesn't really matter how much lemon juice you add. The whole lemon you previously zested. And you can go ahead and add your egg yolks. Make sure to add no egg whites, because when you're gonna cook it on the stove, you're gonna end up with white stuff. It's gonna create an omelet in your curd. So check on your cake so it doesn't leak or it's not burning. And at this start, when the curd is boiling, you can go ahead and mix it, and then you can do a streak in the middle of your curd to see how thick it is. You can boil it to be more thick, but that thickness suited me, so I took it off the heat. then you can start adding your butter. I added 21 grams of butter until it was fully dissolved, and then I added salt to my preference and vanilla to my preference. Done with your curd, you can then remove your cake out of the oven, let it rest for 2 hours, and then assemble the pieces together. And this is what it's supposed to look like.